All right, guys. Fourth and 26 Philly Sports back with another podcast. We got Dirty Mike and Beef here in the house. And obviously, the topic of the day is going to be free agency. First couple of days are always kind of a whirlwind, who's going, who's staying. But as of right now, at
10:30.
10:30 on Tuesday night. The most recent acquisition is we got Rashad Penny, who's been with Seattle the past several years. He's really only played about half of the games in his career. He's been hurt most of his career, so we're kind of gambling on him that he can. He's averaging almost 6 yards a carry though for his career. I think it's like 5.7. So when he's healthy, he can really be a stud with this system. But if we can keep him healthy, that's huge. Staying, we got Jason Kelsey coming back for a 1-year deal. We got Brandon Graham, who signed for much, much under market value. His Pro Football Focus ranking, I think, was number 6 or 7 for edge rushers, but he's being paid number 50. So, he took a huge pay cut to stay with his team, which is admirable. We like to see. Boston Scott is going to be coming back. The Giant Killer, the Little Giant Killer is coming back. And we got James Bradbury, who's going to be inking a new 3-year deal. So, I thought we were going to be losing Bradbury for sure. But, I thought he was really just going to be chasing money, and he turned out he did want to come back with the Eagles, and they gave him a chance to match, whatever offer was, kind of out there. Now we got some people who obviously are leaving that's going to, put some big gaps in our defense. We got TJ Edwards, who went to the Bears. Javon Hargrave signed a way overpriced deal with the 49ers. Good luck to them paying him that much. Yeah, seriously. Andre Dillard's with the Titans, that's fine. Marcus Epps and Kazir White. So, obviously it's not ideal losing 2/3 of our linebacking crew, who, was a pretty good strength last year. Who jumps out at that page to you, either leaving or staying, that you think is going to be huge?
Well, first things first, now that, tomorrow's going to be the official start of the new football year, Foods, I love how they always talk these last few days about tampering, legal tampering, illegal tampering. It always cracks me up when they talk about it, because these friggin', the all the administrators front and all the sports agents have been talking about this shit all the time. They have dinner. They go golfing together. So don't even think about anything like, oh my God, did they just start doing this wheeling and dealing right now? Hell no. Hell no.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers has been giving his wish list to the Jets for the last month probably, since he came out of his isolation retreat. He's turned into a fucking weirdo, man. I gotta tell you.
Yeah, I'm really glad that we never, because there was always rumor, maybe we should get him, bring him over here. Now we always do this sort of thing. Let me real quick, Brandon Graham, Jason Kelsey coming back is great, because I think those two are great opposition to what we usually come through as the Eagles stereotype of bringing old players back, even the Philadelphia sports stereotype, bringing old players back, paying them too much, and they're already cooked. I don't think these two are, because Brandon Graham recorded double-digit sacks last year, and Jason Kelsey, we all know he's a stud. So these two, I have no doubt.
Yeah,
but other ones,
Yeah. Go ahead, yeah. Brandon Graham, they've managed his workload the last few years. He's only
exactly.
25% of the steps, and I figure this year too. So, didn't get the draft, if they could step up as a starter right away. I know a lot of the talk was us getting a cornerback, first thing in the draft, but I don't know if that needs to be the very first thing that we address at this point. What are your thoughts, man, on the draft? Who do you see the Eagles, kind of looking at? Who would you like to see?
Well, I think that it's funny that they called Darius Slay's bluff. First things first, to talk about our cornerbacks, because he got permission to search for a better deal. He was dude, he thought to himself, shit, that's exactly what they didn't want. Now, they pick him up. Maybe somebody will, maybe somebody won't. I haven't heard anything about that. But losing TJ Edwards, a serviceable linebacker, he was great.
Great tackler.
I think he was excellent. But
he's a great tackler.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's things that and the cornerbacks that can be made up later in the draft. Like
Right.
I said, we always talk about Joey Porter Jr., all these Jalen Carter, all these people, early in the draft. We still got 2 first-round draft picks. We're really going to have to hit well on them. And then Howie's going to have some magic with the salary cap. We were talking about that earlier.
Yeah, and something that usually happens with the Eagles too is I think the Eagles, I don't feel like they're great at identifying talent in the draft, but I think that one of their big strengths is identifying talent is maybe released from other teams.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
the draft isn't going to be the end all be all. You got people that get released and don't make the final cut of teams.
Mhm.
In training camp and
Undrafted
preseason. You can always
people, yeah.
yeah, so you can kind of always pick those guys up. Then you got the undrafted free agents. Like, well, who thought Reed Blankenship would be our starting safety going in the next year? Coming in as an undrafted free agent. So,
Mhm.
that stuff happens. You get to work out players and really see who they are, like on the field, not just in the combine. I feel like the combine is it's just a meat market, honestly.
We were talking about this last time. It really it gives you the most basic metric that you height, weight, speed. That's it.
I mean, and in these days, when you're talking about all these athletes that are top athletes, they're all going to be pretty similar to each other anyway.
Especially in their position, their
In their
respective
positions,
position.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when you have like the top level talent, like the top 10 in like each position, there's really not too many that like really jump out as that much better than, anyone else.
Right. Exactly. And I think that what Howie can do between now and what's the draft? I think we talked it was like the end of
It's the
April,
end
the
of
20
April, yeah.
something. Yeah, 20 something. Yeah. So hopefully we'll have like a nice little live action stream. That'll be nice for that foods. That'll
That
be
will be
that'll be
fun.
fun. So
That'll be really good.
by then and now, I think he'll come up with some sort of way. Either maybe he'll package people together with the first round, one of the first round picks. You never know. You know how he is. This is his time. This is his Graceland. He
It is.
works with this like he's like an artist with clay and oils. This is medium.
Well, something else that Howie's really good at is restructuring contracts and kind of moving money around. But unfortunately, the payment comes due, and that
Oh yes,
payment
it
is
does.
coming due this season. The Eagles are, I believe, $54 million in dead money to people who aren't going to be on the team this year. And the biggest one of them, I think Fletcher Cox is like a $17 million hit this season. And the way that this happens is they restructure, deals to defer money and the signing bonuses and
Mhm.
performance
Yeah.
bonuses, and it kind of pushes the money back to later years so that they can take advantage of the salary cap every year. And just Howie, I think, kind of banks that the salary cap's going to always raise so much every single year that he can kind of keep up with it with the dead money, but. They got really hamstrung this year, and they're about $50 million over the with dead money, and that's over $10 million more than the second team in the league. So, that's going to hamstring them a little bit with the salary cap on what moves they can actually really make. So, like you said,
Mhm.
they really have to hit on this draft.
Yeah, it's like kicking the can down the road. Eventually, you're gonna have to catch it, and I think Howie like realizes that. I think he knows that he's going to have to work some magic here, and I don't think that again they're great at talent, scouting talent, and all that thing. But I think if they could use, obviously, got a huge discount, hometown discount from Brandon Graham. And that in itself is important,
It
Foods,
is.
because the reputation of the team. Now, it would have been a lot better if we won the Super Bowl, but
Yeah.
just having gone there is huge to draw other players here. They want to fight to be here. So that's good. That'll bring competition and that'll bring inspiration. And that's something that Howie knows has a value, but obviously not $54 million worth of
It's
value.
it's way too much.
It's huge. It's massive.
I got some names in the draft that I would like to throw past
All
you,
right, let's
and
hear it.
obviously there's some people that want the Eagles to draft Bijan Robinson at number 10 because most likely he is going to be there. I don't think Jalen Carter's stock is really going to slide as much as we thought he was going to. I
Yeah.
really think he's still going to end up being off the board by the time the Eagles pick. If the Eagles don't back off of the number 10 pick and package it for another pick, I'll tell you who I'd like to see later in the draft. I really think the Eagles are actually going to trade that pick. Um, I'd like to see them get another serviceable tight end. Watch a name Darnell Washington. He is a 6'7" tight end. It's just an absolute freak athlete. I mean, if you see some of his combine video, I mean, he's making one-handed catches. He's showing these other guys up. I mean, he's like a basketball player with wide receiver skills. He's really good, and I've seen some projections of him maybe going to Dallas, which I would absolutely hate.
Mm-hmm.
Would hate to have to go against this guy as a massive tight end for the next 10 years, twice a year. And there are a couple picks below us. So if he's still on the board around 27, 28, I'd really like to see the Eagles move up because, we got Goddard under contract this year and I believe next year. But, if he keeps up, a pretty decent production and the Eagles stay good, he's going to want a big contract when this is up. So, if we can kind of draft somebody to, behind him for the next, year or two, and then, maybe take over if we're not able to come to terms with him, I'd like to see maybe Darnell Washington at the end of the first round. That's something that I think they need to address and get a serviceable backup tight end because the last couple of years, it's really just seemed that after, Goddard, and we really saw it when he went out this year. I mean, I don't think Calcaterra is the answer or anything like that.
Zach Pascal and all of them.
Yeah. Poor Zach Pascal, man. He got robbed at gunpoint last week. I felt bad when I heard that.
Dude, it was such a shame. I'll throw another name at you. How about Trenton Simpson?
Yeah.
Defense, right? I'm pretty sure it's defense. Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad selection. Something I could get down on.
There's a lot of studs. There's a lot of studs, especially on defense this year. So I mean,
exactly. And what we need because we're losing a lot. So
yeah, I mean, Lucas Van Ness, he's a monster.
Mm-hmm.
Joey Porter Jr. There's a lot of good play. There's a lot of great players in this draft. This is a really good draft. It's a good defensive draft and it's a good wide receiver draft.
Some good quarterbacks on there too.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah, you got like the big, 4 at the beginning of the draft that are going to go in the top 10. But other than that, this is a really talented draft, and I definitely would like to see the Eagles really hit on this. But for the people who think we shouldn't take Bijan Robinson, I'm a little leery going into the season with Gainwell, Boston Scott, Rashard Penny, and Eric Sermon. I mean, honestly.
Again, it's gonna take some coaching on our part. We got several new coordinators, several new people.
Exactly.
People have been shuffled around.
That's why I think we should take Bijan Robinson because obviously, we're a running team, and we're not going. We can't get Jalen Hurts killed every year, or he's going to have a short career and he's going to go by the way of Carson Wentz.
You got to base his play off the rush. I agree. Our
game is we are a rushing team, so let's go out there and get a generational running back who is going to be a beast for the next 5 to 6, 7 years, or else we're going to sit there and watch him every week with some other team being like, damn. And
I still want him to be Saquon Barkley. Foods. It's the only.
I don't even need him to be Saquon Barkley. I mean,
I certainly don't want him to be because Saquon's great, but forgotten, wasted on the Giants. It's just terrible. That's what's happened to him.
That's what I'm saying. If we can get a great running back on a great running team, I mean, we got to address. I mean, we are addressing running back, but if we're a running team, why not get the best? We're going to draft a running back anyway, maybe in the second round, maybe in the third round. So why not get the best one in the draft? And
I just wish they don't. I don't think they think like that.
No, but the reason that I feel like they should think like that is I feel like early on in the season, especially with all the turnover on defense, it's going to take some time for the defense to kind of gel together and really start playing good. So for the meantime, let's get the offense as stacked as possible to where we're putting up 40 plus points a game and we're in every game to win it from our offense. And then hopefully by the mid to end of the season, our defense starts to catch up to it, starts to play well together, and then we got a cohesive team and a powerful running attack. I mean,
not just that, but they also going to have to eat clock a lot during offensive possessions, and that helps with running. So
exactly.
I hear you.
I mean, such a big part of our running game has been Jalen Hurts, but I mean, we can't run him 16, 17, 18 times a game. We have to have that running back. I know they like going running back by committee, but if we can get that running back who could give us 25 carries a game, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a no-brainer. I would take him 100% if he's there. I don't see how you could pass on the best available person at that time. That's what
Especially at that spot. Yeah, I agree. Hey,
at that
dudes, you never
spot.
know. Weirder stuff has happened during the draft.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, it was like it would be the Justin Jefferson moment all again. Like I was so convinced they were going to draft him when
Mhm.
the pick before them passed on him. It was like a wide receiver. I'm like, yeah, it was going to be him. So I mean, I can't wait till they announce the pick, and I just want to hear the name Bijan Robinson out of their mouth, but I don't think it's going to happen.
I heard somebody on the radio call him B.J. Robinson. I'm like, oh my god,
Oh,
he's fucking people.
but I'd like to see it, man. I would love to see it. I mean, we can make up, depth in the end of the first round, the second round, the third
Mhm.
round. I mean, we can definitely make it up. I mean, a cornerback or a safety or a linebacker, they'll maybe have a little impact next year, but we're talking somebody who's going to put up fucking points next year for us. We're talking
Right.
points on the
Yeah,
board,
I
having an
hear you.
impact from day one. I mean, he's going to be the most NFL ready prospect. Defensive players, especially the speed of the NFL game, so much faster that even if they are a top talent, there's a learning curve, and that's fine. But
Yeah,
you know,
he's a bruiser too, so that's good.
he
Yeah.
is. He's good
Mhm.
out of the backfield. I mean, I just see for what the Eagles want to be. I mean, I think it's a match made in heaven. I mean, it's a blessing that we have the number 10 pick and that he's probably going to be there.
Mhm.
How can you pass on him?
Well, I guess
I
we'll
don't know.
find out, foods. I mean, 4 weeks. I know at this point, 5 weeks. 5 weeks from
About
now.
5, 5, 6 weeks. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's we'll see, man. I'm definitely going to be nervous until then, but I definitely can't wait for the draft party. But I'll tell you what, you're going to see me blow a valve if we don't draft live on YouTube. I'm going to blow a
Freak.
valve.
His head's gonna. You ever see that scene in Scanners?
Yeah, it's going to be that. I'll have to get some kind of graphic that like blows my head up after the pick, but we'll see,
Yeah, that'll be
man.
fun. That's gonna be
Yeah,
a good one. I mean, we got a lot of stuff this month anyway. You got the tournament this week. I mean, how you feel about looking at some of the because we don't have one Philly team in it. We were talking. I think we did a
yeah.
hot take on this earlier.
Yeah, not one Philly team is being represented in the tournament this year for the first time in like 30 years. So, that's definitely, we've gotten used to Villanova the last several years, contending for a Final Four spot and, being a top three seed.
Yeah.
And, yeah, they definitely took a step back this year, and no other team really took a step forward to really get a spot in the tournament. So, there's a
Yeah.
lot of there's a lot of parity though in this tournament though. So I think at this point, just about any team has a chance to win it. But it kind of seems like the teams with superstars really tend to do well. I look for Alabama honestly.
No,
Um,
this
I,
whole first round, we always watch the first round. There's always some upset somewhere. Oral Roberts might beat Duke. That would be so awesome. More
I would
Oral
love
than
it.
Oral Roberts. Come on.
Nothing's more oral than Oral Roberts.
I like
That might be
Creighton.
yours ready.
Yeah, I like Creighton. I like Houston. I probably have Texas, Alabama. I'm guessing, Kansas will probably be in the Final Four. Your normal standard teams, but
Purdue,
who
Purdue got
knows?
Purdue got a little bit of a scare from Penn State in the finals of the tournament. I was like looking for Penn State to win that one, but that guy in Purdue, man, he's like 7'3" or something.
Dude,
He's huge.
he's a beast. Houston looks good. There's a lot
Yeah.
of good teams. No team is super dominant, man.
No, it's not like the year where like Baylor was like so much better than everyone else, but
Or
yeah,
Kansas,
Arizona.
or Kentucky's going to beat the shit out of everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I was sick of North Carolina, Kansas,
Mm.
Duke every single year. You knew who the Final Four was going to be. At
Yeah.
least
By the
three of them.
time you got to Sweet 16, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even before that, you knew that they were going to be
Mm.
in it. But I'm thinking, the good thing with parody foods is it breeds upsets
Yeah,
because I
maybe
think a
St.
lot.
Mary's will win.
Oh God, could you imagine? I would love to see a season this year where like a 13 or a 14 seed won it all. That would be so awesome. I
Yeah,
love
I mean, you see at least one get through that first round, so you never know. I mean, they're playing VCU, so I think it's very possible, man.
Yeah, I think every year pretty much a 12 beats a 5. So and now we've been seeing a lot of 13s beat some 13s beating 4s. So it's it's going to be good. I'd like to really see some high seeds in the Final Four this year and really just kind of shake things up. At least for this year. This seems like this year just kind of stacked up this way that they're every time a team kind of got the number one, they would lose, and then another team would take number one, then they would lose. So it's
Yeah, exactly. That means it's wide open, and I don't know how many games, if you have any down there in the Palmetto State, but I think we got a couple games up here in Philly this year. Not Philadelphia teams, but a couple of the tournament games. Check it out. But I think
I
there's
got
a
it right down.
couple.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let me see. It's
yeah.
at the
There's a
Bon. It's at the Bon Secours Arena down here.
okay, nice.
Every
Yeah, because
every
we got a
year,
couple.
every year we pretty much have the first round. This year we have the women's Sweet 16 and Elite 8.
Okay,
This year, it doesn't look like we have the actual men's tournament this year.
okay, but you got at least one of them, right? You got the women. That's still pretty big, and down there it's huge. You've
Oh
seen it.
yeah,
You tell me about it all the time. They
yeah, I
close the
went to it. I
town.
went to it. Yeah, downtown. They closed the whole downtown area. They put giant screens in the street, and they
Awesome.
have beer. They have beer vendors out there that you just buy a wristband for $1, and every beer is $5. You can get Golden Monkey, Sour Monkey for $5. It's great. At Publix grocery store, a big grocery store down here, they just had buy one get one on 6 packs of Golden Monkey this week. I just picked 2 6 packs up actually for the tournament. Man, they
You're
tear
gonna,
you up.
you're gonna be the drunken monkey, dog.
I am going to be
You like
the
drunken
drunken
monkey?
monkey this week.
Yeah,
It's
so we
funny
got
you
a couple.
say.
So yeah, it's gonna be fun, man. Good times down there. Good times up here. That's why I like the tournament because March Madness it lasts a long time. It takes you through friggin' spring training. Finally we're getting through. We're almost to a couple more weeks, and then we got the first regular season game. So that'll be good. Finally, oh, feels like forever.
Yeah,
You know.
it kind of worries me a little bit. All the blowouts the Phillies have been, having.
I'm not too. That's spring training. They're just getting the bats. See, bats I think bats are the longest thing to wake up. They take the longest to wake up, in my opinion. So I'm not too worried about that. I'm more worried about the pitchers that our pitchers are having issues. Painter they had to shut down. Suarez Ranger had a sore arm. They had to recall him from
That's
Great
not
American
good.
Classic. I
That
know.
is not
That's
good at the
more. I'm
in
more worried about
preseason.
that than anything.
Well, that's what I mean. We've been giving up a lot of runs. Our pitching staff's been giving up a lot. We've been getting blown out. I mean, I can't. I think it's been like 3 or 4 games this year already that we've given up like 15, 16 runs. I mean, it's not
It's. I wouldn't say
not what I want
it's
to see.
concerning. It's definitely concerning.
Yeah, I mean, I know bats wake up, but I mean, it seems like the bats are waking up against us a little too frequently early in the preseason. And I know you can't base it off of preseason, but
Yeah.
they got to get their reps in. But yeah, we'll see. That the tournament will definitely get us through to that. I want to talk about the Sixers, though.
Yeah, fire away because I agree. They got a nice little road trip coming up.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the Sixers have been, looking good. They've been beating up on all the teams that they, should be beating up on. And we beat Milwaukee on that road trip. We had a good 4 out of 5 road trip, a couple week and a half or so ago, and we got some winnable games down the stretch.
They
Towards
got to,
the end.
man. Yeah.
I want to look at the remaining schedule and kind of
Well,
see what.
while you're doing that, I know they got the Cavs coming up tomorrow, and that's going to be a tiebreaker game. We lost one back in last year, won one this year. So we definitely want to take this one since they're right on our fucking ass. You know what I mean? I want to make sure that they win that one. It's going to be a tough game. They got the Pacers coming up. But yeah, Foods, I mean, we were talking about this earlier. What are they? I think they're done maybe the middle of April somewhere. So, we're right around the corner, man. This is it. This is the last stretch of the season before the playoffs. Foods, if we can get to the second seed, I think we're be in real good shape to go to the
Yeah,
conference finals.
I do too. I think if we can get the second seed, that really puts us at a good chance because that's at least two home series right there.
Hmm.
And if we can get some kind of upset, against Milwaukee, who will most likely get the one seed, you never know. We could have all three at home, which the Sixers do play, pretty well at home. So we got as deep of a team as anyone else. It looks like Doc's going to probably be shorting the roster, within the
Hmm.
next, couple games, start to get it towards ready for the playoffs. It looks like he likes to go with like 8-man rosters, maybe nine.
9,
Um,
yeah, usually. So it's closer to sometimes 9, but yeah, I see what you're saying.
yeah, so he's definitely going to be shortening the bench. It looks like Jalen McDaniels has kind of played his way into maybe that top nine. Uh, I'll tell you what, this is the time where I really miss Seth Curry.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
There's a
Stretching.
few I miss. I mean, you miss. Sometimes you feel like you miss Butler, shit
Yeah,
like
but
that.
he wasn't on the team long enough. I like to think like Butler was on the team for much longer than he was. He was only on our team like half of the year.
I know, but sometimes you miss some foods. Oh
I
my
know.
god.
I do miss him, but I miss having JJ Redick there. Stretching the
Yeah. Do
stretching the
you
floor.
miss Thibault? Do you miss Matisse?
No, I'm fine without Matisse. That's
Okay.
fine. He contributed nothing on offense. He played good defense, but
Yeah.
he was just dead weight out there on offense. Now the exact opposite is George Niang. I've been liking his 3-point shooting, but his defense is definitely a liability, and I think he's going to be an odd man out when the
Mm.
playoffs start. Maybe only used sparingly if they need like a spark off the bench, but
Right.
I definitely see him. Maybe getting in sporadically, but this is the run, man. This is the year for the Sixers. They have to at least make the conference finals, or we've done some videos on it. There could be a shakeup at the end of the season, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, we already talked. I don't know if we talked about what's his face, Fletcher from the Flyers. He's out. I
Yeah.
mean, this is doesn't bode well for GMs. I mean, Howie's not going anywhere. We know that.
He's not going to, but the Sixers have to show results.
Yeah,
We can't just keep getting,
absolutely.
because even in the years when we were before the process, we were kind of stuck in purgatory where we would kind of like fight for a playoff spot, get maybe bounce in the first round. But how much better is it to have a great team and to still get bounced in the second round? I mean, how much better is that? How much
Especially
preferable
when
is
you have Joel Embiid. It's so
Tobias
frustrating.
Harris and James Harden? I mean, this is going to be Harden's last year with us unless he
Hmm.
takes a massive pay cut, which he would be out of his mind to pass up like a 250, $260 million contract. He's like,
Yeah,
I like
that's
you, I like you guys and all, but I'm good.
mm, yeah.
I
I
like
can't. I
250
mean,
million
yeah, he'd
bucks
be a
more.
nut.
Yeah, he's not going to stay and run it back with us. I don't think he cares about winning a championship. He doesn't have that killer instinct. I don't feel like that. Like really, truly cares about winning a championship.
We'll see. I mean, this year he's been great. I mean, he's scored a lot.
Yes.
Great offense. Like I think I hear what you're saying. Like he has to really show up big come the playoffs. Like he can't. He can't shrink, and B can't get into one of his moods where he has an attitude about something.
Well, yeah. I mean, what ends up killing him every year is they always announce that Jokic wins the MVP, and he's just shot. He's
3 years
done.
in a row. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's probably going to win it again this year. As good as Embiid's been playing, he's going to be second fiddle again this year. And Embiid's like that type of person to where that affects him so much that he's going to, it just shuts him down and he'll be done.
He
Harden
retreats.
springs. Yeah, but, I hate, I hated foods when players don't play, not that they don't play hard, but they just play that extra bit when they have that contract year. Like I feel like that's what Harden's doing.
Mm.
It kind of seemed like last year his skills kind of took a step back, and he was like, "All right, I got one more year with the Sixers here. If I play like shit again this year, nobody's going to give me a max contract." But he's played well enough that somebody's going to give it to him.
Mm. Boy, it would be really nice if that happened. He can't win us one out the door, Foods. Wouldn't that be
That's
fucking
fine.
great?
If he wins this one out the door, I'm fine with that. Honestly,
Mm.
he'll go down as one of the he'll go by the way of Nick Foles. Like people will love him. People will
Exactly.
love him if he
No,
helps get us a championship. But I, God, man, I don't know. I mean, my gut tells me it's not going to happen this year, and then we're stuck with Embiid only. I mean, he just having Embiid's enough to make us have us make the playoffs, but we won't go anywhere with just Embiid and Maxey. And do we have
yeah.
Tobias Harris under contract next year too? I think
I
we have
think one more year.
one more
No,
year.
it might be 2 more years. No, I think it's just one because I remember he was having the problem with Jimmy Butler. That was like 2 years ago.
Yeah,
Remember we were
year,
deciding
yeah.
which. Yeah,
But that's what I don't like about the NBA. I don't like the max contract thing.
yeah,
Like, I remember Mike Connolly was like one of the first players to like get a max contract when they changed it to that. If you have a max that players can get, then you have LeBron and Mike Conley making the same amount of money when they're not the same player. Obviously one's, a lot more talented and more important than the other. But
right.
what that does is it forces you to either pay the person that max money or lose them. And that's what happened with Tobias Harris. We got forced to pay him a max contract, and he's not a max player.
That's what they were saying 2 years ago. There were a lot of people were like, "What the hell?" Yeah, exactly. It makes no sense. But here
But we
he
would lose
is,
him.
and Butler isn't here, so
I mean, he's a nice piece. He's not even an all-star. I mean, he's had some good years. He's a 16 to 18 point a game scorer, and that's fine.
yeah, he's a
But
number 4. Yeah, exactly.
but
Yeah,
that's not a max player. That's not a
no,
max contract player. But you're forced to pay him that money, or you lose him,
he
and that's
walks exactly.
so it's the same thing with Harden. Harden's not going to be at the point next year to where he should be making $60 million a year. He's a good, solid number 2 option, I think. He's no longer a number 1. But he's a number 2 option to where if we could get him for $30 million a year, yeah, I mean, sure, bring him back for a 3-4 year contract, pay him $120 million over 4 years. That's great. Then we
But
can, but no, it won't happen. And the same thing will happen with Tyrese Maxey when he's up for a contract. It's like, oh, he's not a max contract player. I like him; he keeps developing, but he's not a max contract player. But it almost forces the best players on each team to be paid max contract money or lose them.
yeah, it's a shame that it's set up like that. It's a bad deal, bad structure, especially since what 2 rounds? There's only 2 rounds in an NBA draft, so it's like,
Yeah,
how can you rebuild? The Europe League. You got other leagues, and I get all that, but that's a lot of like paperwork. You got to bring them over. You got to bring them. We got to get them from China.
you
What
don't
the
know how
fuck?
good they really are playing overseas, what kind of competition they're playing against,
Yeah,
and or else Luka would have went number 1 overall if we knew how good he was going to be. But I'll tell you what, man, I hate watching Luka Doncic play. He is the biggest fucking whiner I
he's a
ever
baby.
seen.
He's a
He is
crybaby.
a baby. Every time he misses a shot, he isn't getting back on defense, and he's just doing this to the ref and arguing while a fast break's going down the other way, and his guy is scoring. And he really needs to improve that area of his game, or he's never going to be in the MVP race. And I don't know if he cares or doesn't, but he needs to really improve that aspect of his game because he's a whiner. He is a crybaby.
Harden was even starting to get like that sometimes. He was
Was.
looking around for the call. Like,
Just
come on, man.
fucking
If you
get
didn't
up
get the
and
call,
play
just play.
defense. Just play. Nothing you say to the ref is going to make him be like, yeah, you know what? That was a foul. Come on back, guys. Come on.
You were right. I was wrong. You were right.
Now, after there's a whistle, I've heard some retired referees actually talk about this. About some players are just too nice and they never argue at all, and it makes it too easy to referee them, and they don't get any calls like their way, as opposed to somebody who is always chirping in their ear. It makes them like, all right, I got to be aware of this, and like the next borderline call, I'm going to give it to him his way. So that is kind of a thing in the NBA, and it shouldn't be. Honestly,
I suspect that's probably like that in like every sport. Pitching for umpires, they probably do the same thing for the batter. Maybe one, fuck that one up. I'll give him the next one. You know what I mean?
The next one that's close, like, all right, he's going to be on me again. It's going to be nonstop. Like,
Yeah,
he,
I
you know,
see. I can see that.
yeah, they talk about that if a player is too easy to referee, that they're not going to get the benefit of the doubt call.
Right.
And that's why it seems like superstars always get the foul calls against them. I remember growing up, I was always just like, man, it just seems like all the time, whenever superstars drive to the basket, they always get the call. And that's the reason.
Well, you know what? If that's the case, make it part of the strategy like Embiid does, and just friggin' make 20 out of 21 free throws a night.
All day.
There you
Wow.
go. There's your points. Yeah,
He's become such a great free throw shooter. He's almost become automatic. Like when he misses, I'm like, wow, he missed one.
Yeah, it's a shame. And I'll tell you what, you're going to need to do that come this type of playoff, because I think he's going to get hacked a lot.
He's going to get hacked. If we feed him the ball constantly, I feel like Embiid's done better this season of not lingering at the 3-point line. I feel like the past couple seasons, Embiid got a little too content just firing up 3-pointers. And I got to tell you, I still play basketball. I'm still in a basketball league myself, and when I start to get tired, I just linger at the 3-point line too. Like I don't have the energy to drive to the basket and then get back on defense on a full court.
He's just going
to chuck up a 3-pointer and
chucker. Yeah, that's like the Seinfeld episode.
I'll shoot up a 3-pointer, and as soon as it's in the air, I'll start running back to get back on defense because it's not that far, but. He's playing down in the post, and it's also has to do with his conditioning. He's in a lot better shape now than he was in previous years early in his career.
Yeah, agreed. I'm glad to see. That's a good sign of maturity. Now he just has to make sure that any type of hardship or any type of calls or things that don't go his way during the season, he needs to use that as fuel and not retreat into a shell.
And we also can't see him with an injured face going into the postseason with a fracture in his face.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. If that were to happen again, my God.
That was really one of the biggest problems last year. It really was.
Twice. It's happened twice to him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What's his name took him out? Markelle Fultz took him out the one time. And who took him out last time? I forget.
Wasn't it one of the guys from the Wizards, right?
Yeah.
Was it the Wizards player? It wasn't West.
I forget.
We played the Wizards the first round last year, right? Was it the Wizards?
I thought he got hurt before that, but yeah.
It might have been in the regular season. I forget, but I know it was somewhere right around the end there. Because you had to wear the goggles, yeah.
Yeah, he had the big mask on, looking like Phantom of the Opera.
Mm-hmm.
That takes away from his game. It really does. Embiid's strength is being physical. And when you have a fractured bone in your face, when you're like slamming against people, you feel that.
Sure.
Getting jostled like that. So, he has to be healthy going into the postseason. I think for the most part, everyone's going to be healthy, and we've got as good of a shot as any team as far as our roster goes. But it comes down to coaching, like you said.
Yeah. So stay tuned, on 4th and 26 fan, because this ride's just getting started. Buckle up. We got, what was it? Well, I think we said 20 more games, maybe 18, something like that.
No, we got
whatever we discussed. So and then
we're
forget whatever their record is. Yeah, so because there's 82 games in the season. So, but yeah, we stay tuned, fam, because we got a lot coming this in this month. We got the Phillies are starting. Obviously, the Flyers aren't going to make the playoffs, so don't feel too bad, Flyers fam, because there's always next year, but. I mean, a good chance for the Sixers to go at least to the conference finals. We had the Phillies last year made it to Game 6 of the World Series. So, a lot of optimism.
Yeah, it is. We've played 67 games right now, so we got 15 games remaining.
Okay, cool. 15 games. That's not, it's not a lot, Foods. This is where we got to start making up to get at least to that second seed. If we can win 10 of these 15, I'll be happy with that. I really would.
We got
2/3 of these games.
All right, so some of the next games we got coming up are the Cavs. we have the Hornets, we have the Pacers, we have the Bulls 2 times in a row, a home and home.
Right.
So out of those 5 games, I like to see us a minimum of 4-1 on that, honestly. Um,
I
and
think we
then
could do it too.
after that, it gets tough. We go through a pretty tough stretch where,
Got the
um,
Celtics again.
well, we got the Warriors
Hmm.
in Golden State. We got the Suns in Phoenix. We got the Nuggets in Denver. Then we
That's a
got the
toughie.
then we got the Mavs at home, the Raptors, the Bucks, the Celtics, and the Heat. That's a
Okay.
murderer's row of 8 games.
So yeah, we've got to make our hay on this road trip,
Yeah, we
and
gotta
and
we gotta
and
go
thus
4-1 or 5-0, and then we have 8 tough games to where if we get a split of 4-4 or 5-3, that'll be pretty good. I think honestly, I'd like to
and that would
side
be
with
nice.
three in that.
That would give us 10 wins roughly. Like I said.
Right. And then the last 2 games, we got the Hawks and the Nets. So, I mean, I think they're pretty 2 winnable games there to finish the year. But
And it
after
depends on what those other teams that have games in hand, right? Wasn't that what you were
right.
telling me?
Yeah. So, after these next 5 games, we got a murderer's row of 8 games: the Warriors, the Suns, the Nuggets, the Mavs, the Raptors, the Bucks, the Celtics, and the Heat. That's tough.
Tough.
They're all playoff teams, so that's a tough end of the season schedule. That was the thing about the Sixers this year. Their schedule was pretty backloaded with tough games.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to win as many of those early games as you can in the middle of the season, so that you can lock that up. Um, I wonder what the Celtics schedules are looking like to finish the year.
Yeah. So don't panic out there. all
No,
all all of our Philly faithful. We got things that we can do. There's a strategy. You guys, have some faith in Doc. I know it's tough to ask.
the Celtics finish off their last 10 games against the Kings, the Pacers, the Spurs, the Wizards, the Bucks, the Jazz, the Sixers, the Raptors again, and the Hawks. So, I mean, that's
It's
a
not.
minimum 7 wins pretty
Yeah,
easy, I think, for
that's
them.
yeah, but to say it's not a challenging back end schedule. So
No, so they're who we got to try to catch for that number 2 seed. Because I mean, realistically, if we end up, going against them, yeah, we're going to have that home court advantage for sure. I think to beat them in a 7 game series. But yeah, it's coming down to it, and we touched on a lot tonight. Is there anything else you want to add in there? Give you some minute there you want to add in before we finish it up?
yeah, just in closing, I want to say to everybody, I know with the weather being shitty, I know you're down in South Carolina, but if you're up here watching with me, you've been experiencing crappy weather all weekend, rain, wind. I can even hear it howling out there right now. I don't even know if you can, but let me tell you, Philly fan, spring's right around the corner. Next Tuesday, yeah, I think it's next Tuesday we have the springtime. So we're right there, guys. I mean, it's going to be warmer weather. It'll be baseball again, and we'll have some at least playoff basketball. We won't get a playoff hockey, but we'll have something to look forward to.
Yeah, I'm really hoping they make a deep run, so that it's not just the Phillies from like the beginning of May all the way through
Hmm.
training camp. I like to see the Sixers make a really deep run, and then by the time they finish up, then we only got like a month and a half before players report to training camp, and then before you know it, the Eagles are playing again, and some of the sting from the Super Bowl kind of ends a little bit when you start putting some more wins on the board, the next season. But it's a long off season, man. I mean, I know only one team can win the last game, but it hurt for sure, and I think it's going to hurt pretty bad until we start winning again
Yep, winning
and
is the
showing that
best
we're a winning team.
deodorant, right? It cures all winning.
It does. Well, guys, thank you. It was a pretty good one, Beef. It was a good one as always. Kept it a nice 45 minutes there. We covered
Perfect.
a lot here. So, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, guys. We're going to be doing some live videos coming up shortly with the draft, especially. We'd like to have a crowd of people in there watching it with us, which would be absolutely awesome. And, just check out these videos, and we'll be back with another one shortly. Beef, you have a good one, man, and I'll holler at you shortly.
You too, kid. Thanks for stopping by.
All right, guys.